We'll call the commissioner meeting to order for February 19, 2024. We have a quorum present. We'll begin the meeting with the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's go ahead and have Mr. Brosmer come up and start with that. We'll do the claims and things like that.
Good morning, Ken Brosmer, and I got Jeremy Marion with me and Mike Bruce.
Hey guys.
Hello. I'm here today because of Sandy. She tells me that I need your permission to spend my money.
No, that's not what I told you.
So we like to buy a new piece of equipment, GPS equipment. Our other one was struggling, getting older, and they ordered a $5,000 trade-in. They took our old one. This new one cost $30,085. I have the money in the Corner Perpetuation Fund. So, and I like to stay with this company because they sell Trimble equipment. It's pretty specialized. Most of the surveyors in our county use the same equipment, so everything's compatible with everybody else.
And that's the brand name, Trimble, or what is it?
It's Trimble, yeah, Trimble.
And it's a $30,000+ piece of equipment. You'll get a $5,000 trade-in, so it'll be over $25,000.
That, yeah, that's what Sandy was saying. So
Right.
it's
So
over the $25,000, which I didn't know.
not that she needs defended, but it's not her rule. It's our rule. So
Oh, it's your rule.
it's our rule.
Okay.
So anything over $25,000,
Okay.
we're the purchasing agent for that. So that's
Okay. All right.
And in any kind of a contract. So those would be the two things. So send your anger to us.
Okay.
Yes, I've been having these rants.
I'll find
for
something else to
years.
get on her about, so.
Yes, I'm sure there's other things you can.
Oh,
put
yeah,
on
there's
our-
other stuff. So,
Because it is a specialized piece of equipment, I don't think there's any issue with,
Correct, and to make it compatible with the other equipment you already have, as well as
Yeah.
equipment throughout the county.
and great salesman, comes down, goes through it with Jeremy mostly. Good company, good equipment, so.
and I know we would talk, you used to come in more often than you do regularly, I mean now. How are things going with the corner perpetuation? I know you had just about every corner done. didn't you?
Yeah, we do. What we're doing now is I get with Brent. I got with the city this year and get the paving schedule. So we're trying to stay ahead of the pavers. We'll go out. We have every point GPS. Now we're doing what's called physical ties. We're actually like putting a nail in a power pole and an iron pin along the road. So there's not only a tie to the satellites, there's also a physical tie with a chain. So that's basically what we're doing. And then if we come across a cornerstone out in the woods where the survey marker has rusted off or broke off, we're replacing those. So it's like a maintenance program now.
And so how does that benefit the end of just, I think I know the answer, but how does that benefit like somebody that owns some acreage in a township or whatever, and they want to get it surveyed for whatever reason? I mean, it just improves accuracy.
Your private surveyors don't have to go out into the road and dig a hole. The point is on top of where you physically see it. Let's say it gets, they put a pipe in, county puts a pipe in, digs that point out. Now we not only have a tie to the satellites, they can check it with a chain and get that point back pretty quick. So it's just time, saves time for the surveyors. And Jeremy, he's out pretty much every day doing surveying for Brosmer surveying, so he knows. Saves some time. And
Yes, yeah, saves
they don't have to put the patch, say they dig a hole, it's 4 inches deep. Private surveyors will fill it back in with cold patch, and just saves time.
Saves a $600 appropriation to fill in the
You know, if we get in a hurry, we just leave the hole open, you know? They got all kinds of,
And then blame it on them.
oh, yeah, that's right, pothole in the road.
Anybody have any questions or comments?
No questions. no.
Okay.
I'll move that we approve the GPS equipment purchase in an amount over $25,000 to for the corner perpetuation fund.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
All right, thank you.
Thank y'all. Thank you.
Mike, Jeremy, good job.
Yeah.
Just get a little work.
Thanks, Sam.
Pretty much. I thought that's what he said. All right. We have the claims of the county from the last period. Anybody have any questions on that?
No questions.
Any changes?
No.
I'll move that we approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next up, we have the payroll from the last several weeks. Anybody have any questions about that one? Move that we approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Minutes from the February 6th special meeting. And the minutes from the, what was the other date? February 5th meeting. Anybody have any changes or modifications to the minutes?
Changes.
I move that we approve both.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Mr. Reese needs to sign the second one. Has everyone had a chance to review the clerk and treasurer's reports?
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll put it in the record that we've reviewed those. Next up, we have highway reports. Mr. Byrd? While he's bringing that up, or getting himself prepared, you remember we had a company here last year that was gonna put video cameras in the room, give us a quote for that. So I reached back out to them, they said they'd get back with me right away, they didn't, then I got back with them again, and then the boss got involved, and we're so sorry, we usually don't, we have great customer service, we failed on this one. So anyway, they're getting us a quote this week, and then I've got another one from, another email from another digital company that does similar work. Are we still interested in at least looking at that so that we can better record, better stream?
What's that? EIS, have you talked about that?
That's the one who sent me an email just recently, so I was gonna send them.
Yeah.
Sure,
The one that came in and presented.
Oh, that was that one, that was,
Yeah.
okay. So we have BIS and, I don't remember what the other one is. The lady, the person's name is Sunny Robinson, but I don't know, but anyway, that's the company that came in here last time. I don't know if the guy who presented to us came in, presented, said he'd get us a quote, and he quit, went somewhere else, got fired for that. I think he may have disappeared, so,
Never heard back from him.
yeah, we never heard from him. Just wanted to make sure that you guys weren't like, nah, we're fine with where we are before putting any time into it.
No, I think it'd be nice to have a little more professional stuff.
Proceed, please.
Good morning, Steve Earl, Highway. First up is our additional appropriations for paving as the paving season is coming around the bend. It's time to get our funds in place. I've got a official sheet here in this for you to pass around. But it's pretty well laid out in the report. The MVH looking for additional appropriations to go into highway paving projects. Looking at $1,098,000. Additional appropriations for bituminous would be $127,000. Additional appropriations for stone would be $255,000. Appropriations for paint is $13,000. Appropriations for part-time employees is $15,000. That's for MVH. Do we want to approve each of those and then go to the next one, or how would you like for me to go?
You can just mention all of them, and then we'll decide how we want to vote on them, just in case somebody wants, or you want to have.
Okay. Local road and street, additional appropriations in bituminous of $355,000, appropriations for paving projects of $277,000. And then in solid waste, we're looking for an additional appropriation to put into dumpster sites for $13,000. That there should cover the cost of the paving of Hayesville, Holland, and what was the other site? Pine Ridge, I believe. Those three sites this year. That would leave Du Bois the last one, I believe.
So these are in addition to the sticker fund money from last meeting that we're gonna use to replace some dumpsters.
Yes.
And was that one the sticker fund, was that already in your budget? And you were just requesting how it was spent, or is that something you had to get an additional appropriation for too?
That's an addition.
So you'll be hitting that one and these, or did you already you probably didn't have time to go through that one yet?
I think we've done that. I'm going to the council.
The meeting Wednesday.
I go to the council tomorrow for that.
And these are all good for March? Next March meeting. Okay. Anybody have any questions on the request for additional appropriations? No? And again, the reason we do it this way is this is the way the council would like it done, right? Instead of budgeting it.
Well, we don't always know what cash he has available.
Pardon?
We always look at what cash he has available.
At
What
the
he
first
didn't
of the
spend
year.
last year versus,
Okay, I don't have any issues with it. Okay, I'll move, is everybody okay with putting
We can group
all of them at one time?
Yeah.
Okay, so I move that we approve the request for the MVH, the LRS, and the solid waste fund as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. Next item up, we had a call for the removal of an obstruction in the right of way. This concerning a flatbed trailer which is sitting very near the edge of the road on Hall Creek Road. It is close to the road and has to be moved. I contacted the owner, who reluctantly said he would move it, but still hasn't. I contacted a family member to help with the removal. But I went and checked it out this morning, it's still there. And I had given him till this weekend to get it moved. So, I'd like to recommend, that we consider moving the unit. What my plan was, he's got, several other trailers and equipment and stuff scattered along different areas of his farm. My plan was just to pick it up with our forklift and put it next to the other trailers in the field and not at the edge of the road, not harming anything, just to get it out of the way. Otherwise,
I can send a letter, it's similar to our, like our right-of-way obstruction we had last summer. Fence posts, electric fence. Let me know if it's not done, we can just send a letter out and I can reference the ordinance and then tell them that if they don't do it by such and such, we'll move it to the middle.
Can you,
If that's what the board wants to do.
is there a home on the address? I mean, is there an address or is it like raw land?
well, I don't have the address with me.
What's the last, can you give me a
I'll
line?
tell you,
You know?
Where's Hall Creek Road?
Hall Creek Road is, just north of the Schnellville Road, east of 400 East.
Over by UB Clem,
Okay,
go UB Clem,
yes.
and there's a road
It ties
just to the
into-
left, you go over
That
there,
takes you,
then you go right,
The shortcut.
and then right goes to Hall Creek, there's a road.
oh, okay.
That's Hall
Okay,
Creek
I know
Road.
where you are, okay.
And,
In Marcelo. Just
I
one.
don't, I'm not
What's the first name? Okay.
Yeah, I know exactly where you're talking about, it's right past Holly Lake there.
Mhm.
the family member was willing to help out, but I'm sure knowing him, it's just, I'm pushing
The
back.
capabilities to move it?
Oh, they've got ability to move it. It's just
They
the want to.
equipment, they have the capabilities
Would
of
be.
move, okay.
These
I didn't know if he was, or he didn't know.
And I think just for public safety, you know, we can pick it up and just put it next to the other stuff that they're obviously.
Does he know that you're willing to do that? Did you have that discussion with him? Like, hey, you know, we'll come in and do that for you, or what's his reaction to that?
I told him that if it has to be out of here, we can.
Okay.
It has to be out of here, so before we do that, I would contact him again.
Okay,
Steve might be able to.
Steve.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody ran you too. You know, got on the shoulder a little bit. Yes.
Brent, is it in the right of way? You verified it?
I have not verified it, but
I verified it's in the right of way, and I say push it onto their property.
yeah, I do have a fence strip.
I mean, is there any reason we wouldn't do that without notice? I mean, we've already given multiple pieces of notice. No, I'm saying if he wants to pick it up and go on private property, I think we should have a situation, we should discuss with the person, but if we're just gonna move it 5 feet to get it off of the, out of the right of way for safety purposes, it seems like we need to do it sooner than later.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Looks like it's been mowed around a few times. Does it just look functional?
I don't know.
Mr. Chair, is there, I mean, any reason why we can't get it out of the right of way ourselves without further notice?
There is a
Move it back.
I presume at this point, we've just provided verbal notice, is the only reason if you wanted to do it in writing, it's a paper trail for it, but
is it up against the,
We're pretty close.
You're not making it up.
Close to the fence, so
you can't look at it, it's like it's up against the poles leaning,
I believe there's a center point very close to.
seriously.
Yeah, that's a.
So you said you've spoken with the landowner and another family member and given them more than a week to remedy it? And do you have the capability to lift it and push it back the number of feet you get it out of the right of way? Without getting on his property?
No.
So you can't stay in the right of way and just lift and push and drop?
Oh, we could probably do that up over the top of the fence.
There's a fence.
Oh, there's a fence there. He's on the roadside fence?
Oh.
That I didn't understand.
Yeah, there's a fence on the other side of it.
I don't know if our loader's got the ability to get that high enough.
Right, that'd be pretty heavy.
Yeah.
I was thinking we lift it 2 inches and off the ground and shove.
Right.
The pole looks like it's right there, I mean,
Was there a pole there?
yes.
I know where it's at, but I haven't really studied it. Steve's been handling this.
Mr. Chair, from a liability standpoint, we can't go on private property, we have to go on private property, I would recommend that.
I think we need to just give them the notice, I can go and send a letter out today.
Okay.
Let's do that. I was gonna say, if there's no fence there, we can move it, but I don't wanna ruin somebody's fence.
So I think if you're
If
gonna
we do
get,
damage, then we
get
get.
notice to remove it, it will be removed by county,
At his expense.
yeah, so. And as far as I'm concerned, that would mean we pick it up and take it somewhere, if he wants it back, he's gotta get it. And pay for it,
So,
Keep me off of the property.
or he can just move it. Save us all the trouble.
that's not reasonable to you guys? I mean, you're more intimately involved than we are.
You have somewhere to put it.
I don't know.
Whoever towed it would probably keep it, I mean, you wouldn't tow it, you'd probably hire somebody to tow it.
I mean, I take the Ublors and put it in their fenced area?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like an abandoned vehicle?
I mean, storage or whoever,
That's what
be in the trailer. You know what I mean, that's gonna have to,
I wish you didn't have to be complicated,
Right.
it wasn't, it's not up to us.
Well, I think that the risk of losing property is, will probably be enough to push him to move it. I would hope.
I don't know,
He has until when?
I
I
think-
know it was yesterday. I gotta get a letter to him, so.
7 days from the date of the letter, or, you know.
I'll make it, yeah. We can do that.
you sending it certified or just
27th.
regular?
I usually send it certified and regular mail.
Both, okay.
That way when someone doesn't sign the certified. I still got it there. Did somebody give me a date? Sorry.
17 or 27.
27th?
26, whatever, 27th is good, that way it gives you a day to get it out in a week for them to.
Yeah.
figure it out. Anything else for Mr. Bird?
The board? I did look at the pictures that you had sent, I guess, it was on 800 West. It's something that I had seen probably about 3 weeks ago. It's soft in there, so I think if we put any Durapatch on it right now, it's not likely to hold. I know there's traffic running up and down there. There's also a logging business. We've talked to them to try to, watch it as best they can. It's an area that we're gonna be dealing with later in the spring. We're starting to see quite a few of these show up as the freeze and thaw has been affecting some of the roads, so.
So it has a chip seal, right?
Mhm.
Is that what the road is?
Yeah.
And what I told them last time, 'cause I think I've discussed this with that person previously, is that there's no homes out there. I mean, there's just not gonna be a lot of traffic, but some of the traffic that they have is very heavy, so it's gonna mess up the roads. I mean, I don't know that the board can justify paving somebody's road when there's 7 houses in that area. This is on the southwest side of the county.
Daryl husband.
Daughter-in-law, Carol's daughter-in-law.
Okay. But,
There's like a glider business out there, and then there's some farming and some logging out there,
Right, there's a lot of heavy equipment.
and the road gets tore up. So then what the highway department does, they go in and they put rock in it, in the hole, so that it's not a huge hole, and then they come and put a patch over it later, then it gets tore up again. The nature of what happens.
and right now, it's got a lot of freezing, or it had it, I'm sure that the frost is out of the ground by now, but it's soft, and I think until we get a good hard rain to settle everything out, it's just gonna work like that. So to put a patch over it right now it would break up as well, so, until things settle out.
So what will be done in the spring, we put a
Yes.
mix in it,
Mhm.
just kind of.
Or
patch.
spray patch it with our Durapatcher. And by the time everything settles back out, we put that patch on and she'll stay.
Good enough, thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, sir.
South of that. South of
So is it out there? Oh, was something one of those, thank you. They like doing it their way.
Just try to watch conditions and help us out a little bit. Nature waste this time of year.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Safe Streets for All, action plan. So I sent you guys an email, late last week about the resolution to adopt the plan. So what I had sent you before, I sent you a more of a declaration of the adoption of the whole plan. The Safe Streets for All actually needs a resolution adopting the Vision Zero policy, which is the county's goal of, hey, we're gonna drop our accidents by a certain percentage by a certain year. Well, I should say not accidents, because just the lethal ones, the serious injury ones. Because accidents are gonna happen, unfortunately, everybody makes mistakes, it's the nature of the beast. But try to eliminate deaths and serious injuries from our roads, which is a legit goal. So on the resolution, I don't know if you guys have noticed this at all or not, but I did think 50%, because right now we're averaging, I think it's 3 a year, get down to 1 a year. That way-
Fatalities?
Yeah. So that's the resolution. I do need approval and a motion to adopt this resolution. 2402 is what Sandy gave me as a number. So that is all on there. So, they're the same, I just need 2 copies.
Okay, this is the same as that one. How many copies would you like?
I need 2 copies.
Okay.
You need another.
So no, we had one.
Okay.
So Sandy, do you want it? I don't know what it means.
Does this need to be blue?
No.
Okay, so you said that other document,
Make sure
we'll
you
sign
sign
that
it.
some other time?
Yeah, we'll sign that when plans ready to go, ready for approval. That's more of the
Sign all.
true adoption of our plan and statement that you guys are fully behind it. With the cart for the horse, I just read what he was asking for.
Can you give us one example of something that we'll possibly do in the future that we haven't been doing that will help make this,
Not yet, no?
no, that'll be part of the plan?
Yeah, I don't have, I gotta sit down and discuss with them what we wanna do. They're just gathering data right now. I've sent them so much data that they're gonna take and manipulate and understand and try to organize all of it.
So it reminds me of the state highways have, when you reach a bridge, they have the different kind of safety, right? I mean, that has a little bit of give. I mean, would that be an example of it?
It could be. We don't have an issue with those right now, but yeah, that could be something we could definitely do. I'm more thinking more signs, not more signs, but brighter signs. Illuminate things a little bit better. Probably low hanging fruit, I think we can do.
So he said he would like 2 copies. There's 3 copies there, so we can keep one if you need them. I'll move that we approve the Safe Streets for All Action Plan document.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Okay, still with Safe Streets, a creation of a steering committee. So part of the plan is I need to create a steering committee to bounce some of these ideas off once all the data is gathered and organized. They're asking for members from the emergency services. They're asking for a few people from the public, whether they're, say Rosewood or Cash Wagon or somebody that's in the traffic industry, even residents of the county. Then, and then some government representatives. So I need to begin starting with some people. If you guys know people that would be interested in this work, send them my way. I need to start forming this committee. One of you would need to sit on it. I know you guys have plenty on your plate. I do need, and I don't think it's gonna be a huge time commitment, but I do need one of you. I'm gonna go to the council tomorrow with Steve, and I'm gonna request the same thing with them. So if you guys know anybody from the public that would be interested, I'm gonna ask Tammy if she can sit as far as emergency services, represent them as a whole.
I have one person in mind. I'll send them a text to see if they are, and if they are, I'll let you know. I mean, I know of at least one. So.
Perfect.
Anybody on the board interested in being on the steering committee?
I'm fine with it.
You,
I'm okay with it, yeah.
Good.
That's fine. Yeah.
we do.
That'll work.
Thank you.
Definitely do that. So, I have Dove Solar Park on here. I didn't put anything on it because I saw it was on the agenda, so it was on my agenda as well. So if you want to do it now, we can. Wait till later. That's fine too. Lights. So
Do that a little bit later.
that's fine. Not a problem. Light Source BP. I was supposed to meet with them last week, and I got sick, and I unfortunately missed the meeting with them. So I want to meet with them hopefully this week or next and get that particular project going again.
I spoke with them, and I think I gave them some of the information. They had a question about the fee for the application and just how we did things, so I think I kind of filled them in the best I could.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Yeah, I was not feeling good last week. Community crossings, so nothing for this latest round, like I said, just a waiting game. But tomorrow I am gonna go to the council to see if I can get a consensus from them, whether they'll fund a match for round 2. The county would be able to look for roughly $494,000 that we're able to apply for that the CCMG would give us. The county's match would be $164,711. You know, that's a significant chunk of change, but I'm gonna ask them and see if they have the ability to do it, if they have the wish to do it. If they do, then I can apply and bring another close to $500,000 in. I don't know what their funding is, you know, they may be strapped. I gotta just go to them, talk to them. So, that's all I've got there, but I just wanna give you a heads up that I'm gonna meet, when Steve goes, I'm gonna piggyback off of him.
Yeah, so,
No, that sounds good. I hope they support that. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You said that we have the ability to get for the first time.
And it's just outside of what Steve and I can fund with our own NVH money.
Got it. Anything for as well?
No.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Say 30, Life Springs?
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
He can come up with you if you,
Well, I asked him if he wanted to.
is he shy? Just kidding.
Good morning. My name is Beth Keeney. I'm the CEO from LifeSpring Health Systems, and I'm here today to just kind of touch base and let you know some of the different things that LifeSpring is working on. Some of the different things LifeSpring is working on here in Du Bois County, and answer any questions you have. What I've just handed to you is a county report that we do for all of the counties that we serve. This is something that's required in statute. We mail it to you at your office. Sometimes if we have your address, we'll send it to your house, and it's always available on the state website. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you have looking through that. So as you know, LifeSpring in 2018 merged with Southern Hills, which was your traditional community mental health center. So the LifeSpring footprint now includes 11 Southern Indiana counties. We go from Rockport to Madison, all the way north to Austin. Here in Du Bois County, we have our large outpatient office on Eversman Drive. It's one of the largest offices in our area. And at that location, we do comprehensive behavioral health and substance use treatment across the lifespan, as well as comprehensive primary care. So folks can come in and they can get their physical health needs met, as well as their mental health needs. And again, that's across the lifespan. So you can think of us as your safety net for both behavioral health and primary care. We're really excited about a couple of different things that are changing within the LifeSpring system. First, we have Hope Center, which we are constructing next to our outpatient office here in Jasper. That is a large 24-bed facility, and we're doing that in collaboration with our friends at the Du Bois County Community Foundation through generous funding from Lilly Endowment. So we are 90% finished with that. We estimate that that will be open, I believe, in accepting patients within the next 4 to 5 weeks. And so we've already got some staff on board, and we're really getting close to cooking with grease there. So folks will be able to come in and do a residential stay to do medically managed detoxification before they transition out to a different level of care. We also will have the ability to do crisis receiving. And so I want to talk for just a little bit about crisis. Before I do, does anybody have any questions about Hope Center or medically managed detox? Okay, sorry.
There's another lunch and learn coming up. If one of you wanted to go to that, I went to the first one. I don't remember do you know the date?
It was just a couple weeks ago, and it's when there was ice and snow, because there was some discussion about where.
No, we did, that one happened,
Yeah,
but there's
yes.
another one
I
scheduled.
don't know the date,
Okay,
I'm sorry,
so-
no, but I will
It
definitely
is a
get
neat
that to you.
facility.
Yeah.
There's for men and women, it's a nice place. Hopefully, it gets open in the next couple
Yes,
months.
yes, we are staffed and ready to go, and we're just kind of working through our punch list at this point. So another big addition to the LifeSpring continuum is crisis services, and this is something that we're seeing across the state in community mental health. And the 3 pillars of crisis services are a person to call, a person to respond, and a place to go. And so we have a new call center that we opened last year. If you call LifeSpring at any time of the day or night, 3 o'clock in the morning on December 25th, you have the ability to talk to a person who's trained to help you work through any sort of difficult situation you may be having or that a family member may be having. We also have the ability to connect folks to clinicians, to licensed clinicians. A lot of times we can resolve things over the phone, but if we can't, we have the second pillar, which is a person to respond. And this is a trained team of a clinician and a peer who will actually go to the location where a crisis is occurring and help try to resolve it. So a call may be a 17-year-old who's had a huge fight with the parents, and they're making some statements that are scary to mom and dad. They don't really want to get the police involved, but they're really not sure what to do. They can call us. If we can't resolve it over the phone, we can respond to that location. Of course, sometimes we have to involve emergency services. That's just the nature of people. But for the most part, we're able to divert about 80% of those calls away from emergency services and away from hospitalizations. The third pillar of crisis response is a place to go, and this is where Hope Center comes into play. People will be able to come to us for up to 24 hours to just kind of figure out what do we need to do next. I like to think of it as putting a pause in a crisis. So we can take people who maybe they are intoxicated and the spouse has kicked them out and said, you can't come home. Well, we don't really want them out causing problems, but they can come with us, stay a couple hours, and then we can figure out what do we need to do next. Is that look for a halfway house for them? Is that access care through Memorial Hospital? Is that have them come into our subacute or to our Hope Center formal program? And so we're really excited about that because, again, we are working to get people into the right level of care at the time of crisis rather than waiting for them to be arrested or decompensate and have to be hospitalized. So that's really exciting. And we're doing that. This is our second crisis location. The first is located in Jeffersonville, and it is really being used. So we're really excited to be able to offer that in our more rural area. The last thing that I want to tell you about right now is a partnership that we have with the Indiana Rural Health Association.
Before you move on,
Sorry.
So the people to respond, I know currently, if there's a crisis and you call the number, someone would have to respond from an hour away. Are you saying that in the future, someone to respond will be someone locally?
I believe we have local responders now throughout our 11 counties. So initially, like a year and a half ago, everything was very centered around Clark and Floyd County, where we have most of our population. But at this point, we have responders dispersed. So the metric that we look at is that somebody is on scene within an hour. So once you figure out how long it takes for somebody to get up, get dressed, have a drink of water before they go. I mean, really, we try to get people there as quickly as possible. If we were doing that from our more metro Louisville area, we wouldn't be able to make that metric.
Okay. Thank you.
So the last thing that I want to share with you this morning is we have a partnership with the Indiana Rural Health Association. This is a grant that they received from the federal government where we will be able to do mobile opioid use disorder treatment. So we have a family practice physician who's also boarded in addiction medicine at our Jasper location, and she'll be supervising an advanced practice professional who will travel throughout what we call our Western Division, which is the traditional Southern Hills area, to do mobile opioid use disorder treatment. So that's something that we're really excited about that doesn't happen often. And so we're excited to be able to bring that to the community. I also want to mention that Alan Smock, who is on our board of directors, has joined me this morning, and I'm sure he'd be happy to answer any questions that you have also, shy as he may be. I've given you a lot of information. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Can you tell me how the mobile opioid use treatment, how that works? But I don't know, a little more detail on that. So
Yes.
if I'm a person with a disorder, what do I do, or how does
So we
this help?
have a mobile unit, and it's essentially a large trailer pulled by a large truck. And it has exam rooms on the inside. And so when you go in, we can do everything there that you can pretty much do in a family practice office. So you'll be able to meet with a nurse practitioner. If it's appropriate for you to do therapy from that location, we can link somebody to a therapist. If medication is indicated, the nurse practitioner can do that there. And it really just makes sure that people have access to care close to home. We know that if we have to have people go for a long distance, their connection to care and their likelihood of following through is much less than if we can bring it really close to them and engage them close to where they are. So we're excited about that.
So it would be something where you would say, we'll be in Du Bois County at such and such
Yes.
location, from 8 to 4 on a Thursday.
Yes, yep. And so once we have established locations, that schedule is available. People can schedule an appointment just like they do with any of our offices. And it works pretty well. We use it in primary care, too.
Would this be something that's once a month, once every couple months, that it's at each of the counties that you serve? Or how
You
does
know,
it-
I don't know, what the schedule is right now. It's currently operating, but I can get that information for you.
It'd be interesting to find out. Because if it's regular, then I think that makes it more likely someone will get service too. If they know that it's going to be there
Yes.
the 15th of every month or second Monday of every month.
Absolutely. And mobile health is really hard to get started up exactly for that reason. You really have to go where there are enough people to make sense. But at the same time, if there are a lot of people, there's typically an office there. So you have to figure out a schedule that brings you to where people can access you, and you have to do it consistently and regularly.
And how would people pay for that?
All of our services are provided on a sliding fee scale. And so what the person is responsible for is dependent on their personal family income. So we look at their household income. Most of our patients are 100% or less federal poverty level, and their cost for a visit is $5. So even if they have insurance, what we see a lot of times is folks are underinsured. And they, if you have a $20,000 household income, but your deductible is $10,000, you might as well not have insurance. So we look at everybody regardless of insurance status, and everyone is eligible to access that sliding fee scale.
I think that's good.
Any questions for me or for Mr. Small? Okay, well, thank you for your time this morning, and thank you for your service to the community. I'll leave my card with you. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to reach out anytime. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
That was a lot. Yeah, it's neat when you walk in, there's one seat, I guess, where somebody will tell you which side to go on, and then on one side, one or another, and guess we get up to one next. Yeah, it's a mirror, it's a building with a mirror on each side, and I think that way they can split staff. But you don't have to interact, you don't have to have that work. Yeah, there's like a little patch of, you know, the workout, yeah, there's like a spot in the middle that has some offices, there's a kitchen that serves as a full side.
Nice.
Mr. Host.
Anybody need a copy of what I sent you?
I do not need one.
You made them, you're welcome to give them to me to get rid of.
I am here today, the auditor and the treasurer, they asked me to look into getting a window in between our two offices. So I called, Tom Schrerin, Brother Schrerin, and, he gave me a quote for $3,125.50. We're gonna put it in, there used to be a door in between our two offices back before they renovated. So it's framed out in studs. So he's gonna, yeah, it should be pretty easy job.
Yeah, they don't have to break through it.
They don't have to break
But
the
they
new
can break
concrete.
it or something.
Nice.
I've looked at where the location is, it seems suitable to me, it seems suitable to the treasurer and the auditor. If they think it's gonna be helpful, it sounds like it's gonna have a sliding window, so it won't be
It's gonna be
like
like a doctor's office,
Right.
you know, sliding glass window is what they, about 30 by 32 or something in that neighborhood.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
And we're gonna ask the council for money from
The
whatever.
local assistance travel
money or the ARPA fund, whichever one they.
Just so it gets on the record, does anyone have any opposition to cut the hole in the wall for the window?
I told you.
Okay, I'll move that we approve the request pending funding from the county council.
Also, yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Right.
Aye, motion carries. Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Hey, we're a little ahead of schedule now, so we'll look through a couple other things. So it looks like you had a sewer meeting on the 15th,
Yeah.
and they sent out some minutes.
I'm listening, I was gonna share that. Alright, so we did have a meeting on the 15th. We got together with City of Jasper, and just had some discussions with, Heath Bitzer, our new, engineer and head of the project. We discussed our district formation. IDEM, did grant us the, district, so we will, be appointing board members and whatnot. We will, lean on Greg for, some guidance in that. We discussed the funding for both projects and the fact that it is a joint project between Jasper and the county, even though they will file two SRFS separate projects. So beyond that, it was mainly just a kind of a get together to make sure we're all on the same page, and see Clark Dietz is going to start working directly with Derek at Midwest. That's the city's engineering firm. And
That sounds like a wonderful idea.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like that should have probably been done,
yeah, it probably should have been.
and so you think they're both open to that, working together, having a joint plan?
Yeah, I think they've worked together before, and I think they're very open to it, so. Derek was not at our meeting, so that was an oversight, but, they're gonna work with him in the future. And the city was agreeable that, the county should direct their flow from Hayesville into the lift station on 47th Street. And we're gonna work on putting together some sort of interlocal agreement to that effect that says that we are gonna work together on that.
That has the capacity to,
They're currently at 50% capacity at their current plant. They can double that capacity on their current footprint. So I think the idea of putting in a north side treatment facility is probably done. That's not gonna happen. So we're gonna have a direct flow down to the current facility.
so I thought that there was a problem with that something between 47th Street and the treatment facility would have to be upgraded, and they would have, so is that still the case?
It may have to if we look at the full project, but maybe not with just the flow from Hayesville. When Portersville comes on, that might have to be upgraded. But as of right now, we think we could make it work. And that's
So to get us started,
That's what they're gonna work with Midwest on. So I don't think that all the answers are necessarily there yet. But
So that simplifies the project if it's able to go there instead of building a new facility, and it's probably cheaper,
not much.
not much.
I think that's why the city wanted the new facility.
If there has to be an upgrade through town to upgrade the force main, if, like I said, there's still a lot of calculations that they have to upgrade the force mains through town, that will be a significant chunk of change.
I guess I'm saying if they don't have to do that part, then it's
Yeah, yes.
considerably cheaper.
Correct.
That's why I was surprised to hear that, so. Anything else?
No, that's pretty much it.
This is a simple one here. There's a room divider that the Veteran Service Office had been using previously. They don't need it anymore. I'd like to move that we declare that surplus, so it can be disposed of.
One second.
Any other discussion?
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So I will let the veteran service officer decide what to do with it. All right, something that has come up that I don't think is on our plan anywhere. I just have one extra copy of that, if you don't mind sharing. And I don't really know where we're gonna go with this, but I know it's gonna be an issue that's going to be brought up. This has to do with equipment for the, I guess Commissioner Stefano is probably aware of this. There's some equipment that the park and the 4-H share. And some of it, they don't have funding, I don't think, to replace all of it. So there's notes at the bottom telling us exactly what's gonna happen.
Well, it's replacing and going down to a couple pieces of equipment compared to the 3 or 4 pieces that they have now. So I'm trying to.
So as I was looking at this, I was wondering why that was the chosen route over the second one here.
The trade-ins.
Yeah, that doesn't look like the math adds up, does it?
No, it seems like,
Oh,
Let me see.
so is that the final out-of-pocket expense right there? This last column? Because if that's the case, I'm curious why.
I think the difference is there's no mower put in here.
That's the latest one from,
Oh, we gotcha.
So it looks like maybe they were more expensive in that area, or they weren't offering it. So we were just doing the first column.
But even that, if we did this, gets you from one and over from the other, I don't know if that's an option.
So I don't know that we need to get into the complete details, but
Yeah.
just to help give the county council, I guess, our thoughts on it. The 4-H, historically, I believe, if the park department bought a piece of equipment that was $100, then each side would be responsible for $50 of that, and the 4-H would pay $10 a year for 5 years to pay their part of it.
some kind of a payment plan.
Right, there'd be a payment plan of some sort, and I think that's, from the email, I think that's maybe what they mentioned doing with this. I don't know, maybe Commissioner Stefano, maybe you know better than me about this, maybe you should be leading this conversation.
Well, no, not necessarily. I mean, I've had a couple meetings. It's just the equipment needs to be replaced desperately. I mean, it's, we've got 2 new employees out there and they're not the safest. The previous person that was out there before, I think he just got on equipment and knew how it worked and knew what didn't work, and it's not safe. The guys have done their homework out there as far as getting quotes from 3 different companies, and I think the decision, if at all possible, to go with Hope. As you can see, the amount there, $65,000. I mean, it is what it is. So
So one piece of equipment will be discarded because doesn't make sense to repair it, because
Right,
it costs too much.
right,
Then we would be replacing a couple other pieces.
yes.
And I guess the question is, how is the park funded currently? They have their own taxing, right, Sandy? They have their own tax rate. So they should, on one hand, you said they should be paying their own way. They've got a tax rate. In the park, we give them $125,000 a year. So I guess part of me says, okay, why are they unable to keep up on their equipment that way? So that's a thought. On the other hand, I don't want our people not having the appropriate, the people that are out there doing the work, we don't want them to do without. So there's,
I think previously things should have been on some kind of a rotation as far as the machines and everything else, and it's just failed. I know that their appropriations are 125, but a lot of that goes to, and Sandy can verify that, as far as like insurance and payroll and things like that. So that's where the biggest portion of that goes.
I haven't done an independent study on this, but I don't know that other county, do you know if the other counties invest as much as we do in 4-H?
I don't think so.
I don't think they do either. So that's what I'm saying,
Which I didn't know that.
we already invest more than others,
Right.
and they're always wanting more, and they're always doing things that are outside the, in my
I
opinion,
think also
outside that
that
contract.
we probably have a considerably nicer park than most counties.
We are very unique in that we have a park and a
Yeah,
village together.
together, which,
And I think it's a tremendous benefit.
Right. I'm trying to play devil's advocate.
I know,
I want to look at both sides of it.
I've got a whole file here full of it, and just trying to figure out what to do. And there's a few more things that we need to get together, and then come before us as commissioners and county council pertaining to all this. So,
Do you think that we proceed by saying the county, that we support the county just paying for these items and then asking them to get on a rotation and be more frugal in the future or more forward thinking in the future, or are they never
I'm
going
not
to
the
have their money?
president, so I don't want to come out and say that.
Are these pieces of equipment that belong to the park board or do they belong to the county?
That's the other, we've had that too.
Yeah.
I would guess I would have it that they'd be belong to the park. Or the county, one of the two. I mean, it's not owned by 4-H, I wouldn't say. Not that it matters, because we're sharing, it's all being shared.
Right. Which I didn't know before either, so, I mean, some of this stuff is new to me.
They've been shared in the past expense,
Expense wise.
like the vehicles we hold a title, but they paid half, we paid half.
There won't be any pilots, not to equipment, it's just a vehicle. But I've seen these machines firsthand, so I know what kind of shape they're in, what they need.
I think it was in 2015, we bought 3 different pieces of equipment and they paid us back over time for their half.
So there should have been some kind of rotation, it's just, it's failed, so. But there's other things that the board is getting together as far as the phone and stuff like that, if you wanna wait, and then we'll reevaluate it, and they're gonna come before us, the county council.
So you think this is just preliminary, just get us thinking about it
Yes.
this time?
Well, but I think mowing season is gonna be coming
Yes,
up and they're
sooner
gonna
than
need something.
later. They wanted to come before us today, and they could not get on the agenda, so.
Another issue to consider is that they have, and I think they emailed us about this too, that their buildings are aging, and Mr. Kleesner and I went out and looked at them, and they got cracked concrete, they've got some of the buildings they're saying are unsafe. So as I met with them, I said, I see the issues. I go back to the other thing that the contract says you're supposed to be maintaining all of your own buildings.
Yeah.
And every time something new and expensive comes along, we pay them, or we've been paying for them. I would go back to the bleachers that, that investment that was supposed to bring in all kinds of money and help alleviate some of this, so the county put in $600,000 maybe for that, and that hasn't been fruitful. So it just seems like them as and I know they're all volunteers, so I hate even being negative about it because they give a lot, and they give a lot to the children, and they give a lot to the organization. They do a lot of awesome things, but on one way, that organization's supposed to be
I understand.
taking care of all of that stuff, and we give them over $100,000 a year too. So it's something isn't floating properly with the organization.
Right. And they're,
Like I said, anybody that I've ever met that volunteers out there, they're great people. They're the kind of people that keep the county.
it's a great staff.
Yeah, it's a wonderful bunch of people.
Yes, they are.
I mean, the staff and the volunteer, all the volunteers.
Totally agree.
So I don't know, do you have any comments on where you're standing today on any of this?
No, I mean, I definitely see the need. I also see where you're coming from, that,
But I just want you to understand that the appropriations that we do give them as to exactly where that goes. And that will be brought before us.
Yeah.
There's part of my soft nature that says they need this equipment. It's a great community asset. Let's just pay for it. But I don't want to just jump into that. Because I don't know that, again, like I always argue, we wouldn't do that for a number of the other private organizations that do great things in the community. Anything else, Ms. Stefan?
No, I just wanna, point out that they will, again, coming before us as commissioners and the county council with more numbers and things like that, as far as like the repairs on the buildings and things like that, and the equipment. So look for that in the near future.
Is there any feedback from anybody in the crowd that would like to, anybody from the county council or anybody from the public has a comment on it?
I mean, the only thing I'd like to see is, the financial statement or where they're at financially.
Right, and they're getting that together. There was a big change of all of that yesterday, that I do know, because I got an email yesterday with all that. So that will all,
Because, we like the president said,
Right.
we gave them $125,000, it's
Right.
only February. They can't be on our money.
Right.
So,
and all of those reports will be coming in here probably within the next week.
So we can review those.
Sure,
I think we
Yeah,
get
so-
those in April or May.
Feel better about it. Thanks.
sure,
Okay, so there's more information to come,
yes,
but
definitely.
it'll have to probably be sooner than later if we're gonna do something for them, if they need that equipment. Okay, next up, we have, Veteran Service Officer Bramlett is here, and we're here to talk about veteran services and donations. And, Ms. Moriarty?
Hello, my name's Pat Moriarty. I'm with the Marine Corps League and all the other veteran organizations in the county. And Susan pays for a lot of stuff out of her own pocket for us veterans, coffee and snacks and stuff like that. And we thought that maybe she could have a slush fund set up to where we could, as veteran organizations, donate to help her pay for this kind of stuff, instead of it coming out of her pocket or the county's. She could have an account set up and just for the VSO office, not just for her, but VSO office, so it'll transfer to whoever down the road. But to where us organizations can donate to her and not come out of her pocket or yours. So that's what I'm here for, to ask if something like that can be set up.
So I think my suggestion to the service officer was that if she has needs, and there's people that are willing to meet those needs, that we would accept, like if it's coffee, get coffee donated. If it's some other item, we just do it that way. Are you thinking that you prefer it to be a cash situation where you give her give some fund cash and she gets to use it for the office?
We send in a donation here to the council or county some ways, and she can in return give receipts of what she spends, type thing. Is what we don't know what she needs, and when she needs it, who knows? It takes her months to tell me something, and we're pretty daggone close. So it'd just be easier for her to go out and get what she needs and turn in a receipt for it, type situation.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'll ask is there a way you think that we could account for all of this if we use the Rudolph fund that we have?
If they budget for it, I would
Right, I
say.
mean, so if I wanted to put $10 in that, I gave you $10, can you put it in there and then she can use those funds for office needs?
I have to look at how we wrote that ordinance,
I'm just looking for a way to not have to create a new fund.
Yeah,
because that was an endowment. I'd have to look at if we said we could take other donations in it and how we'd account for it.
Because you don't want to really set up a new fund just for something like this.
Well,
do you?
we'd have to, I mean, if, you could do it that way. If the other one doesn't say that we can take donations, which I don't have in front of me, then we could set up a donation fund, but then she'd still have to go out and have some kind of way of purchasing through that fund. So you'd have to set up, like, if you need coffee, you'd have to go and have an account somewhere that you could buy the coffee, turn in your receipt, and then we pay it like our normal claims process. There's no way we'll really have her cash in hand unless we set up a petty cash.
well,
Typically, they go out, basically, we have accounts at various locations.
that you could get these supplies from, and then in turn, we process the claims through these meetings on a monthly basis. And then they get paid by paper check, or, usually paper check.
But for her to go personally, she wouldn't be able to use our tax exempt. We'd
Right.
have to have the account set up through the county.
As long as other organizations and people can donate to this said funds for her to use.
Well, and that would be my other comment would be if we would set up a separate donation fund, I don't want it to be a one and done. We give you $100, you're done, and we never see it again. Then we're setting up a fund for.
Right. Well, I'll be asking and I have asked some of the organizations, veteran organizations, to donate at least $100 a year to this. That gives her $1,300 from the 13 veteran organizations in the county a year. And there'll be more because there'll be other times that she'll need more money, so. So that's
Makes it.
the ongoing,
Makes it more worthwhile setting it up.
yeah, that's the ongoing thing there. And it's not just the time she's there, it'll be for future use as well, so. That's what I'm asking, something we can set up like that to help her out. And help the county out, and the veterans. I just can't see her paying for all this stuff out of her pocket, that's just,
Well, that's not required,
Yeah.
requested, so.
no,
That,
but it's something nice she does. And it's nice to be able to go in there and sit down and have a cup of coffee in a 2-hour meeting with her, so.
Yeah, so I think what we'll start by looking at so William Rudolph Jr., there's a veteran service monument endowment that was given before. There's funds available from there for the office's use and for maintaining the monuments. Maybe we'll check there first. Hopefully that one is one that is able to take donations, and then she could use those funds, if it is $1,300 a year or whatever it is, to, we don't want to turn down kind money to serve people. So we'll find a way to make this work.
Okay, great,
It's just,
great,
I think we'll start there.
awesome, thank you very much.
Is there something you wanted to add?
No, not really. I think because we were talking about, like if somebody comes and volunteers, I want to be able to give them a thank you donation. For specifically, I have a young girl in college that's been coming in volunteering, and she's been consistently doing that, so I wanted to give her something to help her out for her tuition or whatever.
we're talking different volumes then.
That's
still not gonna be allowed.
That's
Yeah.
not, yeah.
You won't be able to do that.
Either she's volunteering or she's on salary.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's something I can just do on my own. So, I mean, this would be great, just having a separate
Yeah,
fund I can use for coffee and stuff, but yeah.
We're kind of wondering if the Rudolph endowment down there would just take a donation down there.
at Foundation.
Correct. The fund that the county utilizes is funded from an endowment at the DuBois County Community Foundation. And they are probably less restricted on the amount of, I don't know that endowment fund itself, it's something we can discuss with them, or you could have a conversation with, if they can receive additional donations and contributions to their fund, which in turn funds our fund to make all this work.
Generally, that's how that works.
Correct.
So should I
I
need to have a conversation.
I would be
with-
surprised, sorry, speaking out of turn, they would not accept a donation to go into an existing fund. Usually you can set up your own fund, or you can contribute to any existing fund. And then basically that money would go through the community foundation and in turn come back to us, to our fund, because we're the recipient of that.
What we want to make sure is that there's an end goal of the veteran service officer being able to use these funds for certain purposes. And we got to make sure that the funds from that endowment can be used for that purpose.
Correct.
Because that's where
Yeah.
because that's really what it comes down to. How can I spend this money when I receive it? And how can the council appropriate it so that I can spend it?
Yeah.
There are going to be things you can and cannot spend it on. Gifts for volunteers, for example, and you brought that up. We have one organization that's part of the county that they are given grant money or endowment money of some sort, and that endowment specifically says it can be used for volunteer activities of some sort, similar to what you're talking about. So that's the only one that I know of that the commissioners have said that's fine to do. Because again, it's free money coming in. It's not tax dollars. Again, we want to make sure that we can find a way to meet the needs. When someone wants to give a donation, we want to be able to improve the office if we can legally do that.
If we can't go through the endowment and we have to set up our own donation fund, we'll have to have an ordinance or a resolution, I should say, saying what that money can be used for.
And is it your understanding that if they did want to do volunteer services, that that's something that if there was a donation, that those donation dollars could be used for that?
If it's in that.
If it's in the resolution.
Your organizations are the one giving it for that purpose.
Right. So we set it up, write it up, the resolution.
Well,
how
we
we
would
want.
write up a resolution
Okay.
with your wishes in that resolution.
Okay.
And then if you ever decide to terminate or not donate, or you're not able to donate anymore, what do we do with the remaining money?
So what would be our next step, in your opinion?
Well, we can look at what the endowment thing says, or we can,
Do I need to have a conversation with the foundation?
well, I think, let me look at that and
Okay.
have that conversation, and then I can get back with you.
Okay.
You just want,
I mean, this isn't something that has to be done tomorrow,
No,
but give me a few days to,
yeah.
can service officers come back at the next meeting and we'll follow up, and you guys are welcome, of course, always too, but she works with us, so that's where I would start there, and then we can find out what she found out, and we'll just keep doing this publicly, and we'll get it all
Sounds good to me.
squared away.
but in order to set up a fund, the council would be the ones that set up a new fund.
Okay.
Okay, so we thank you for moving forward, and we will start work on the process of making something happen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maura, appreciate it.
I can look into it and catch out of that or something, but
It's still, there's only so much allowable. There's only certain things that are allowable.
Right, and if I do set up a petty cash fund, review receipts and follow up and making sure it's up all.
I think I would have a hard time if this organization any organization came in and said, I'd like to give $1,000 a year so that the auditor's office can give a bonus to one of their employees. It would be hard to turn that down on one hand, but then on the other hand, does that cause more problems than? I mean, how would you feel if somebody said, we want to give someone from the public wants to give money to your office for snacks? And I don't know either. I don't know what the right answer is. If you want to turn down someone being kind and helping out volunteers or employees, but could it cause problems?
Would that take a 1099 then, if they receive money from?
Well, if it's an employee, it would be a taxable fringe benefit.
Seems like it would, somehow it would have to be recorded under personal taxes. Because it's a gift, or, well, maybe not, I don't know.
Unless it's a one-time thing and it's under $50 or something.
De minimis.
Okay.
I'm just gonna take a little bit of research here.
I mean, they're kind of a different animal there.
But like,
Okay, Mr.
like we're
Warner.
saying, it's not a required thing to hand out coffee.
Right.
I get it.
And if she could just have a vendor set up, whether it would be Kroll or whoever, she would go get her supplies.
She'd have to get her supplies there.
And a certain vendor and. That's what I'm thinking, is how.
And she'd have to have a charge account
And
somewhere.
nothing else, unless you put in a resolution, specific things like, in turn, how we might get after. Then I have to do a certain amount, under a certain amount. I don't
Why
know.
did that be so hard for somebody?
I'm not the auditor.
I tried to
It's a healthy help.
suggest that it was informal.
What you don't want is you don't want them to give her money and then her have that
It
money
could have been
and
much simpler.
walk off with it. You want accountability for it, because it becomes county funds.
All right, please proceed.
All right, Sean Warner, DuBois County Health Department. So today I'm here asking for, I guess, is your guys' opinion or approval to move forward. We're running into issues with language translation at the health department. So we've got, right now, one of our families in pre-3 program speaks Haitian Creole. We have nobody can speak with them. We can't see this family until we have translation service available. And I would say this is going to become an issue probably countywide as we continue to see more of these families. But I didn't know today if the county wants to get one policy and allow all the offices to be able to use this translation service, or do you want me to sign up for my own, for the health department only, and pay out my grant dollars? I guess why I'm here today, because I had reached out to Sandy and she had said that she thought you guys should review this before we move forward.
So do you have,
So I've been in contact with Propio, that's who Van Every County uses for the same program. WIC in our building uses the same organization. They sent a contract. I had sent it to Sandy and Greg to review it. The only thing that I saw in there was 30-day payment. I asked them to move it to 60. They compromised and moved it to 45 because
It's better.
claims are only ran once a month, and 30 days sometimes is not possible. And it looks to me like for what the contract they sent for Spanish, just the language translation on the phone is 65 cents per minute. We more than likely won't need Spanish as much as we would the other languages. The non-Spanish is 85 cents per minute. That's per phone. If it's a video or on demand, Spanish is 99 cents a minute, and non-Spanish is 99 cents a minute. Sign language is $1.79. And I know when Sandy sent the email out to department heads, Amy Kippenbrock referred me to the courts language line. We as the health department can't use it. I contacted them this morning because that's the courts only. I did Google language line, and their rates were considerably higher than this, unless they're going to give us a better rate. But just Googling it, I think a phone call is $3.95 a minute, and this is 65 or 85 cents.
Oh, wow.
And that could be just like their throw out base rate, but we might be able to get it lower, but I don't know.
and there's no cost if we don't use it?
There's no sign up fee, there's no cost. He said if you don't use it, you won't get an invoice. You could not use it for 6 months and you need it, you're gonna get an invoice for that month. But he said there's no charge other than when you use those minutes.
You have grant dollars available for it, you said?
I do at the health department, but I didn't know if other county offices, that I guarantee you're eventually gonna deal with this. And whenever they come to your county, you can't speak to them, at least this would be an option if the county had this contract. But I don't know how you would pay for that. If you make each department keep track of their own minutes, this program has the ability to do that because you have to answer questions when you go into the system. Say, you can answer like up to 4 questions. So number 1 would be what department you're in, your name, a special code. You can track, what department's using it, and then somehow allocate, you owe us this much, but I don't know how that would really work. So I just need to know if you want me to go move forward with this and pay for it out of my own funds and just use my own minutes. And then if somebody else in the county needs it, they're gonna have to come to you and do the same thing. Or if you want to do like an umbrella, sign a contract, and then any department will be able to use it. And then I don't know if the commissioners just have a fund where they can pay for the minutes across countywide. That's kind of why I'm here today.
I'd like to see.
Each department would be.
I don't have a budget for an attorney. I don't have a way
Well,
to have.
neither do we. I don't have anything in the line item, so I'll probably have to go to council.
Would it be better if it was separated to each department?
I'm comfortable going with just him doing it. If another office has, they can talk to me about how it works, and we can deal with them individually.
The courts are already using something.
Well, they have it through the courts, and
They get theirs through the
they get
state
it, yes.
Supreme Court.
So I called that lady this morning, she said there's no way we can use that, because it's provided for the courts only, can't use it as health.
Sure.
But when you say departments, most of us are under county general, which the commissioners are under county general, so it's the same fund.
Okay.
I think it would be cleaner and easier just for the commissioners to get one contract and let any department use it as needed, but that would be if you guys have funds available. I mean, either way, I'm gonna have to go to council probably and get an appropriation for this, because I don't have a line item for translation services.
I'd say you get us a copy, where I would like to go, and then they can come in as well. I'd like you to give us a copy of it, whatever contract you're wanting to do. I would support, or my preference would be you just do it for your department, and
See what
we'll
follows.
go, yeah, we'll go from there. That's how I would proceed.
I would agree.
See what
I think
follows up to that.
If we have a need in other departments at some point, then
So I'm good just to sign my own contract and get it going this week.
No.
But I need it this
We can
week.
look at the contract.
Is what? Yeah. So you have to approve the contract, because I already sent, and that's usually what I do. I get his approval, and then if he says he's okay or has any changes, then I go ahead and sign it. But you're saying that I need it.
Review the contract.
I got it. So I'm looking at it now, there are a couple things I'd have you add to it, but other than that, it seems acceptable, yes. And the things I would have you add are our standard stuff that we've been using in most of our agreements.
How about this? I don't wanna hold you up, so how about if the way I'd be okay with it, if we say it's approved for you to sign the contract, if you don't hear from us in the next 3 days, give us a few days to look it over, see if either legal doesn't have a problem with it or we don't have a problem with it. Because the commissioners are supposed to sign the contract for the county.
He sent me the updated one this morning. I can forward that out to three commissioners, Sandy and Greg, and then
Again, it's no cost if we don't use it. It'll be a cost that you'll have to get the money appropriated from the council for whatever part you use. Correct? So, yeah, I mean, I don't think I have a problem with it. I just think it's good practice for the commissioners to review the contracts before they're signed by the department. So I would say if we don't get with him and one of us say, don't sign it, then he would have, he'd be okay with he'd have my consent to sign it. Would he be okay with you too?
And by the end of the week, if you don't hear from
I just need a copy of it when you're done.
Is that acceptable to you?
I mean, I needed to see this family soon. But then the next problem is, can I go ahead and sign it, start using it, and then get the money appropriated later? Because I've got it in the fund. Otherwise, I can't see and help this family, that's the problem.
Tomorrow night at council, they can declare it an emergency.
Oh my God, you need
Because
it.
you're not supposed to sign a contract unless you have the money in place. And if they declare it,
If I've got money in other operating, would that be sufficient, or would that have to be line itemed?
no, the other operating, you could use that.
Okay, so then I wouldn't need to get an appropriation, right?
So then you have money available to sign the contract.
Yes, okay. I will check that.
Who gets the contract? If it's,
send it to us right away.
I can forward it.
I'll move that Mr. Werner sign the contract with the company if he doesn't hear from us by Thursday evening.
Okay.
Need a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. So, yeah, if you'll forward it to us today, he'll look at it, we'll look at it, and then you can get it signed with, that way we won't have to.
And if you have a question, you send me an email about that issue.
Yeah, what's that for? I look at all of our claims.
It's not the COVID test site, it's the
I thought that's- I thought I looked at it.
It's 161, 166 is,
Oh, okay. I looked here on my list, it says 161.
that's preparedness.
COVID test site.
COVID test site is 166.
So this one's scratched.
You can sign it by Thursday, no need.
166 is the COVID test site, 161 is preparedness. Right here's the.
Yeah, I think Cindy gave me this pretty recently, so maybe we need to get it changed.
What's that?
He's saying with this one,
161
161, right, asked about it, it was COVID test site, he said, no, that's the prepared.
161 is preparedness, 166 is COVID test site.
COVID test site is just scratched. Do you have that fund open anymore?
There's still a few thousand left.
161.
So then where does that, what do you do? Is that just straight
COVID
out
test site?
No, I mean, the Dish Network.
He's
where does
asking
that
why
go?
you have Dish Network.
Because we have the health department, and that's what we pay preparedness, so it's a preparedness claim. So for weather emergencies, we have Dish Network to be able to watch the news if we need to, say something comes up disaster wise, we have the ability to
No, that's fine. Whenever I saw that it was from test, what it looked like to be the test site, I'm like, we don't have to test site, so that's where.
Test site's 166 and preparedness is 161. I can give you these if you need.
No, I don't even,
Okay.
I'm saying, you know, just have to make sure that we have our documents right so that I know where the money's coming from.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you. All right, I'm gonna take a minute and we'll come back with courthouse security employee training.
Went sideways. It's okay.
Yeah, we'll do
It's okay.
That wasn't addressed me. If the Warner's contract any more complicated than necessary, but I just think we should probably keep a procedure of reviewing them before people sign their own.
He said he wanted that change a couple things on it too, so.
Well, he sent it to Greg and I for review, and I said, can I check the Sunday? Okay, so I was thinking,
That's right.
It's right.
I gotta have four of us.
I figured.
He said there was a couple of changes he wanted to make. Well, probably need to wait.
Used to be my norm, now it's not.
So, but yeah.
Well, I think we need to get away from departments just doing one thing.
Hopefully House Bill 1158 will pass and it'll clarify that later. Okay, courthouse security employee training.
Good morning.
And who are you for the record, please?
Tam Lambert, DuBois County EMA Director.
Thank you.
And I have along Tim Lambert and Jeremy Lee. They are resource officers with their respective schools, and we're here to talk to you about courthouse security and our need to go ahead and get some things going. So Tim's going to give you all the details, but we're looking at 3 different dates. 2 of the dates will be for in-house training in June, and then the actual active drill would be in July, and Tim will get into a little bit more detail about that. But it's just been a few years since we've done it, and it's time for us to get back in that. So if you want to.
Morning. Thank you for your time. Well, thank you for your time. So what we're looking at is the active training, shooter training on the June the 11th and 12th for the county employees.
start, the first one will be at 6:45 to 8:45. The second will be 9:30 to 11:30, and then the third will be 1:30 to 3:30, 2-hour increments. So we were looking at that, when we first started, June 11th and 12th. And then we have the actual active shooter, at the courthouse on July 11th, probably in the afternoon. I think the last one, they probably started around 2 in the afternoon. I'm sure most employees probably get back from lunch around 1. And I'm not sure if, I mean, it'll take a little bit for the active shooter event to get set up and for the officer to go through so we can do our safety checks and stuff like that. And a short debriefing or hot wash shortly thereafter. Then the hot wash will be probably in the hallway in the courthouse. We can stand on the steps or whatever, and if anybody's got any questions, see what went well, what didn't go well. And then our thought is, after that, if myself and Mr. Lee being off during the summer, we go to each department and kind of look at things, if anybody's got questions, and maybe give some different ideas on to help secure them if there is ever a replacement event, so. I know at the department head meeting, I went over a few things with active shooters. It follows the ALICE model, which stands for Alert, Lockdown, Inform, Counter, and Evacuate. It's the same training we went through a couple years ago. Kind of refresher course, and kind of hands-on.
So the date's been cleared with the courts?
Yes, sir. I spoke with both judges, and July the 12th is, the afternoon is the best date for the multiple.
You said July 12th?
12th or 11th?
I have June 11th and 12th, and then July 12th is what I
12th, okay.
have, the actual event. June 11th and 12th will be the training at department.
At departments,
We're trying to get department.
We're gonna work with Marky on, getting everything set up and all the employees notified. And Marky's on board with it as the risk management training for the quarter.
Do you, as a department head, do you see an issue with having your people out of the office for a couple hours? So each employee hopefully would have 2 hours of training on the June date, and then on the 12th date, it's whoever's in those buildings, or in that building.
Right, we would be doing about an hour risk management twice a year, so we're really, it's no different, I think.
And the other thing with the, training, we would be open to giving everybody the opportunity to talk about their, it's long enough that Tim will be able to address any issues that, or concerns that they might have. And just having the ALICE training first, and then we'll go into our training at the courthouse. We would also like to open it up to any other agencies that can come in that are not actually in our courthouse or annex. So if we could, let the department heads make a determination if maybe somebody out of the highway department could come, or someone out the health department, or something to that degree. We would like to invite those employees as well, so that it's not just the courthouse employees only. It can happen anywhere, so that was another request that we wanted to throw out.
And at Parklands, last time we had the training, we went through an evacuation and a counter, which is part of the ALICE. It's kind of difficult to lock down Parklands, but we will discuss how to lock the doors and secure them to try and either buy law enforcement a little more time to get there, or to prevent that individual from getting into that facility altogether. So we'll discuss that.
And I think probably the last time we had the meeting was the time where people had the new door. To have 2 points of contact to lock a door down, might be a good idea to remind people how to use those, because it's been a while and we haven't had to use them. Great, that could be something too that we could go over.
And I think that's, after we go through the courthouse training, the active shooter training, again, we'll try and get around to each department and discuss some different things in their department, maybe change some stuff around, some furniture, especially like here, that door swings in. You might want to have something there that at least kind of secure that door, where you can't just push it open. You can do something, and again, you're trying to slow that person or prevent that person from coming in here, and then giving you guys at the bench, some different things and some thoughts that might help you guys, somebody ever come to it.
Absolutely.
So basically, the first day would be like our risk management training, only a little bit longer sessions. And then the second day would be when we come in and actually do the drill.
So every employee would have to spend time day on each day.
Right. And basically on the second day, then you'd have to close the public to the public
On the July 12th.
in the afternoon.
Yeah, and the last time we did, we closed at like 1:30 to the end of the day, because 1:30 to 2 was getting prepped and get all the employees where they needed to be, and then we would start the drill, so.
Does anybody have any preliminary problems with closing those days or having training on those days?
I've got one thing, Jeremy Lee, for the record. New to the county, but good to see you all here. So, one thing we didn't talk about is there will be somebody that's on vacation during this time for the training. I guarantee it. And part of our role of the summer is in training, so we can set dates to catch them up and, to make sure that, we've got documented training for all our employees. And something we really haven't talked about, but I'm sure somebody won't be here.
Now, previously, when you presented to Alice, I videotaped you, and we had that available. So we'd still have that, and I can do that again.
I spoke with Alice, where I got my instructor certification from. They're not big on YouTube videos and stuff like that.
We don't put it out in public, we just.
But yeah, or we can get with them, we can run it through, training during summer also if someone's missing. If we have a number of employees, we'll just schedule another day.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if we had a number, we could.
No, we did not post it to the public, we just had it.
Thank you.
No, we didn't do that last time.
I've
We
reached
kept it
out to
on our
Alice in
own.
the past, and no, they don't.
I don't like that because you know as well as I do, if you give them a video to watch, they're gonna start it and then they'll go off about their business and then once they're playing, they complete the training. And, they still go about their daily, whatever they're doing, so.
It's always preferable to have them at the regular training if possible. Did, you're both here, so I assume Sheriff's on board with all of this. No, I don't, do you want do you need final approval from us today, or you're still, maybe things could change?
I think those dates are set.
Yeah,
We just need to move forward with your approval so that we can lock down those dates at the parklands and then let the courts know for sure that we are doing that on July the 12th.
So the ask really is to let county employees have 2 hours on the 11th of June, the 12th of June. So 4 hours of employees being off-site doing training, and then on the 12th, closing from approximately 1:30 forward to the public.
Correct. That is correct.
Anybody in attendance have a problem with that? Okay, looks
But
like,
if other departments would want to come into the courthouse at that time,
Yeah, we did do that last year too.
Yeah, we opened it up.
Or last year, last time.
Absolutely.
what do you mean, if somebody wants to participate in the training,
Yeah.
the live training?
Yeah.
We did that, whatever, we did years ago, we did that, and we provided others.
They just came in and went into various departments throughout the courthouse, so they did.
Right, no, for sure.
Our plan is to use blanks, to get as real as effective as we can. I talked to Mr. Rhodes about sending out that day of the training, July 12th, some information about counseling or things like that, because it affects people differently. People have anxiety, they can be really stressful. So we'll send some of that out today of the training also, and maybe do some follow-up. After the hot wash, we'll check with everybody. I said department heads to do the same, to check with everyone to make sure they're okay after the training, so.
And even prior, the department heads may want to check with their people if they've got something going on in their life that just this is going to be too much for them. We can maybe go a different route with that, the actual scenario. Just keep that in consideration.
I'd be okay to move that we support all of the dates and times they've given us today. So probably the main one is closing the courthouse. Let's do that one first. I'll move that we approve closing the courthouse to the public for employee training at 1:30 on July 12th.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So please, I don't know how that advertising would work, but if you could put a press release out or notice to the.
We put notices on the doors, we put press releases out a couple different times prior, at least 2 weeks prior, and, we should do our very best. We're still gonna get a few, and we always have someone stand at the courthouse doors to let them know that we are closed for the afternoon.
I was gonna say, that'd be very important.
Yes.
If you need a volunteer, you can probably send out a request for that, or you probably have somebody already. Okay, and then, the other one, just the training on June 11th and 12th. I say we allow the employees to do whatever training is necessary for those 2 days.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. So,
Thank
no,
you
hey, I
very
appreciate
much.
all the efforts on this. This
Yeah,
is really
it's
important.
Very important.
Ms. Humbert's got some training signs too, so we will post those outside the courthouse on the day of the training too, just to let people know there is training. If someone walking out here shouts fire, so
Yeah, there we
A
go.
lot of training.
Do we
Thank you.
need to do something with the other departments as far as like somebody from the highway department wants to come in or, you know, what if you have half of your employees in your department that wants to come or something to this? I mean, how do we handle that?
I'd say we would especially like to have, probably would like to have at least one representative from each department, so then they can go back
They
to
can
other
go back.
departments. And if,
Okay,
I don't know that we would
so it's
want,
not open to
I
everyone.
don't know if we want the whole health department, the whole
Right.
highway department,
Well,
ever, you
Like
know,
I said, you know,
that-
everybody's interested in doing this.
for the live part of it, because then we'd have, unless you want to use them for, as they pretend they're public or.
They can all be on jury duty.
Well, I think we should probably just let these guys run it how they want to run it.
I agree.
They'll be professionals, and I don't think unless one of the department heads says they don't want the people going, for whatever reason.
I think anybody that shows up, we will give them a role of some sort.
Is that good enough
Okay.
for the board? Let them kind of take care of that. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, security procedures ordinance 2024-03. So this one has been bouncing around the last couple weeks. And I think we're at a format that I'm satisfied with. Does anybody have any changes or modifications that they would like to put forth? So I think as far as, well, Tammy's here, I'll ask her. So one of the components of the ordinance that we're discussing today, establishing security procedures for the county courthouse and county annex, one of the parts has to do with badging. It doesn't say that directly, but indirectly, that's what it is. So section 3 says during normal business hours, any individuals, including employees, with the exception of those individuals set forth below, may enter or exit only through the east entrance. So we would need the vast majority of employees verify that they're only eligible to come through the one door, with the exceptions being county law enforcement officers and those individuals in their custody, county maintenance staff, department heads receiving deliveries from vendors. So that would be you don't even probably need badged for that. Somebody would come to the door and you'd let them in. It would just be, it's a protection for those offices. And then any other individual with authorization from the Board of Commissioners. So that would mean, I think if this board is okay with it, the way that would act in a daily routine would be if somebody in the clerk's office has a broken leg and they need to use the back door, you would call one of us and say, employee X has a broken leg, is it okay that I give them permission? I think as long as one of us gives approval, that would be okay.
Agreed.
And it's only temporary, and we've been through that once already, so.
I just didn't want you to look at this, it doesn't say anything in here that I can do that, but that would probably be a good process to have, that way we're aware of the people that have that. Is there anything else within that you think is, or anything that needs to be talked about regarding the badging?
Not really, it's pretty simple. The badging part is set up by department, so anything that we do, and now that we've had that incident that you just explained, we have that set up, so if you end up being that person, then we can move you into that category, very simple, and then move it back out. I've kind of got it all set up, so at this point, that all makes sense. As far as how you want badging to be done, it's pretty much how we're doing it right now.
And if, say the clerk's office, if the clerk says, I really need my badge to let me in and out because I'm gonna be walking with this person in and out, again, same thing. They would be allowed, you would have to set them up for that day probably. Is that a
Yes.
problem?
No, it's not a hard process to change the badging. We just need to know who is doing that. The one thing that I don't want to start getting into is, well, can you undock it for tomorrow or the next, you know what I mean? I've never had that problem as long as I've taken over on it at all. It's really, everybody's pretty accepting of where their badging allows them to go.
So just for everyone else's sake, if anybody wanted to know, a lot of what's in here, or not a lot, I guess, some sections of this are mirrored in other sections of ordinances that we passed previously about deadly weapons or any weapons capable of causing harm. Those have already been disallowed, but this clarifies our entrances, our procedures with that, and it also clarifies that any person who enters Du Bois County Courthouse or the Du Bois County Annex is deemed to consent to a search of their person for property, for deadly weapons and other items outlined in section 2 here. So there's been some discussion of are the courthouse staff, security staff, are they allowed to frisk people? Are they allowed to examine bags that were brought in? And this just clarifies that they indeed are. It's another level of just saying that that's okay. Does that sound like a fair assessment?
That is a good brief summary of the purpose of the ordinance. And it does call for a penalty, so this ordinance will need to be published.
So we will approve it today, but it doesn't go into effect
Until
until
it's ran through the publication requirements.
So I have to sort it out.
another, just to take it one step further, if I come in and I'm carrying a backpack, I would assume that I may have that backpack searched for the safety and security of the facility. If I don't want it to be searched, I'm not going to jail, I'm not getting a penalty, but we'll just say, take it out of here. You're not welcome in here while you have it. So you don't have to be searched, you just can't come in if you did not have that search. Does that sound like a fair assessment as well?
It does.
Okay, then that being the case, is there any other discussion on the ordinance? All right, I'll move that we approve ordinance number 2024-03, an ordinance of the Board of Commissioners of DuBois County, Indiana, establishing security procedures for county courthouse and county annex.
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion carries.
Do we have to change the sign on the door of the courthouse?
We can, I'd say we put up a notice similar, the sign on the door.
There, on the doors and stuff about firearms.
Correct. Right, I don't know that we need to change that, we could say that those entering are subject to search. Add a sign, or not add a sign, that's the board. But I think that it says that they're not allowed, that hasn't changed.
I think the courthouse security manual that we put in place 2016, maybe, needs updated. So that's something we'll probably have in the process here the next couple of months. But whenever I've done reviews of best practices for this, yes, signage that says, so if you enter, you're subject to search. I mean, it's just a,
So we'll send it to the press this week. It won't get published till next week.
so Mr. Schneider, does it automatically go into effect after such time that it's published?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you for that. I think that's the only thing on that ordinance. And does the auditor have some items in there?
I have the annual financial report for you all to put your initials on. I gave you a copy in your, what's gonna actually put in the front of the paper, which is the last pages.
Yes.
But this is the detail of the entire report.
I'll move that we read the whole thing out loud.
You
Not,
start.
not sing a second, I guess that one died.
Motion dies for lack of a
You
second.
start. See how far you get.
There's a
Maybe reading it
detail,
myself.
he has adopted the book. There's details for the receipts, the disbursements, the grants, the leases, the inventory, bonds, elected officials.
I haven't gone through the summary that you gave us. Is there anything that is glaring that is important that we?
No, I think it's $53 million. If you look at the very end. We had over $1 million in grants, I think, on the one. So we more than likely will be subject to a federal audit again. But I'm gonna be submitting it after I show the council online.
So what would you like us to say, that we have received it or reviewed?
We're just reviewing it, I have to show it to you, it's due 60 days after the first of the year, so it'll be due this week. So it's on the 29th of September.
I'm okay with it. How about the remainder of the board here?
And it will be published this week, so.
You need to initial it, both of you, please, that you've,
I've got a breakdown right here. I think that was just one.
Did you see anything questionable?
No,
Good
no better than I do.
I think financially, they're in good shape.
And again, if either of you have any projects or any needs that you see in the community that you want to look for, we're always welcome to do that. Mr. Kleesner, Ms. Morton, and myself have been meeting the last couple of weeks just to kind of go over financials, and if there's projects or some need in the community you see, bring it up. I think we're trying to determine, do we have funding that we can put towards projects? Do we have funding that we need to put in more reserves? Or what do we need to do going forward? We just want to make sure we have a good grasp on where we are. So, I guess just for the record, the commissioners have, we reviewed the annual financial report. Another thing, I don't think we need to take any action on today, but the Director of Community Corrections has informally at this point requested a couple more staff members. They have one staff member that is grant funded who will run out at the end of the year. And they would like to keep that person on and continue doing programming. So that would be one. And then I believe with the recent loss of an employee out there, just kind of brought a few things to light again, that it would be simpler for them if they had another 2 officers, because then when somebody takes off, you don't have to put an AM person on a PM shift or vice versa, and it doesn't mess up people's schedules as much when you have to move people around or when you have people ill and sick. And it's just, I don't know exactly where we are with it, but I wanted to just bring up an initial.
He asking for 2 or 3?
2.
Is he putting them in his grant?
2 new, and then a continuation of the person. It would be 3 overall, I suppose, is kind of what the initial thought is. One of them is grant funded and will run out at the end of the year, so the person's job will die December 31st. If we don't continue to fund the position.
Sometimes I think that's why they don't use grandfather positions.
They know we're gonna need them.
Oh, that's Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, once you have 6 people doing a job, it's gonna be difficult to go back to having 5 do these jobs.
So-
I'm with you 100%. I understand
Is
that.
he adding more to his grant? Because I know he's doing his grant right now.
I'm not so.
Because I think he's putting them in,
Well-
there, requesting them.
The thing is, they've been putting these in the grant every year for 5 years, they've always funded it. So they've been, the Department of Corrections grant, they'll always put in, we need 2 more officers, we need another person doing programming, and they generally don't get them. So, I'll keep working on it, but if either of you want to take a chance to talk with him about his desires or his needs, then you're welcome to do that as well. I just want to give you a heads up that may be coming forth soon. And next, this is something we brought up last time. The commissioners discussing alternates on the park project. So while we've got a couple people from the county council here, they're going to be talking about this tomorrow. That when we approved the bids for the park job, there were 5 alternates on there. My understanding is that alternate number 4, install sand pit boulders, that's no longer an option. That'll be something that can get done in the future. We have, let's see. Mr. Kleesner, which 2 were approved? Number 2
3 and 5, wasn't it?
Or 3 and 5 were already included. So then that would leave us with alternate 1 and 2, the additional zip line playground feature, and then a new playground climbing feature for number 2. So my thinking on it was that I wouldn't mind going on record, just so they know where the commissioners stand, or at least one of us stands, that I would approve if they can find the funding for it. I think it's a good idea to go ahead and fund those alternates. This is a major investment in the park that we haven't done in maybe ever of this magnitude, where the new campsites, the new playground features, the new restrooms, the Wi-Fi. There's just a lot that we've done out there. And while we have people on site doing the work, I don't think we're ever going to get the pricing cheaper than what it is here because they're already there. And I think it's a good idea to just support doing it all. It'll ultimately be up to the council if they want to, if they have the money available to do it or if they have the desire to do it. So I just wanted to bring it up to hear what the two of you had to say about moving forward with those other alternates. Mr. House, do you have any thoughts?
I mean, if money's there and we can afford it, I don't have a problem with going ahead with it. But I wouldn't support it if it straps us or puts us in any kind of financial situation. It kind of comes back with, they also need some equipment out there.
They what?
They also need some equipment out there, so that's, kind of,
Kind of a toss up there.
it has to be no alternates and we buy equipment and,
Kind of where
yeah.
the decision's up to the county council, but.
You're okay with it as long as there's funding there and it's not going to make it so tight that something else will suffer?
Yes.
Right.
There's a need out there for other things, so that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at them individually, but both of you are probably right that I can't do that. It's get to look at the whole picture.
We brought it up earlier about.
Because it won't do us any good having a nice new zip line toy, no, not a toy. And to clarify too, I was thinking it was a zip line, like you strap yourself on something and go down a tree, to another tree. It's not like that kind of zip line. It's a solid steel structure and you just kind of go, well, I just didn't know. I mean, I didn't really think we'd do something unsafe, but it's I've seen the playgrounds before.
But I don't think you want to have playground equipment that you can't get to because they can't mow.
Right, that was my next thing, because it doesn't matter if it's covered up.
There's a need and there's a want. Great for the kids, I totally agree with that, but if you can't take care of the ground, if you can't take care of things, then it's a different story.
If I had to vote today, I would, I guess, probably say okay to this and probably okay to some kind of agreement on equipment just to get it done. It has to get done. I don't know what that looks like exactly.
Time is the essence right now as far as the equipment. I mean,
Yeah, the grass is gonna start growing real soon.
yes, I mean, there's a lot of maintenance out there, and they do a wonderful job. But we need the equipment to do it.
You think?
When will we get a little more clarity on the equipment, their other needs on the?
I think they said they're working on it, but
They are working on it. There was a major change, as far as the R4H council. There was a big change, I just got the notice on it last night, so I want to discuss that with them first. And then hopefully we'll have a meeting before the end of the week, and we'll have a lot of this stuff down on paper. And then, like I said, they'll come before us, before each council, and then they'll come before the county council with all these numbers and all the financial and everything like that. So everyone understands it, and everybody's on the same page here.
so one of the tough things though, if that's the case, where we're gonna be getting more information, it kind of drags it out.
I know.
If they want to fund
I know.
something like these alternates, we have 60 days. So they would have to discuss it tomorrow and approve it, advertise it, and then at their next meeting, am I correct how that works? Then at their next meeting next month, then they would officially be done.
That's kind of what I was getting at, because we're gonna have to come resolution first one tomorrow, right?
So they'll have to decide tomorrow if they're gonna do these alternates. But they won't get to do the equipment, the
They
mowers
couldn't get
until,
on the agenda fast enough for today was the problem. Because they were, we closed yesterday, so they couldn't get on the agenda for us today.
so I guess the council will have to make a determination on the alternates tomorrow and then the remaining part in the future.
Is somebody coming tomorrow evening? I haven't heard from them. We just need to-
You have a comment?
I mean, the only thing I was thinking, if you're gonna meet with them, my only thought is, the same thing, timing is gonna be not work out. I mean, is there any way, you know, we gave them $125,000, could they use those funds to purchase it, you know, and look at us maybe supplementing that operating, the operating money that it takes, $56,000 that it takes to buy this equipment, whatever, $65,000, I think.
I don't think they have any cash.
And it seems unreal, really.
No, they haven't received their 125, they
We
won't
give
receive it
them,
until.
we give them that money, I think it's in May.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And why is that?
We just have always, I think it's in May.
Well, we
April.
could
We could give it to them now, we just have always given all those monies that.
that's what
they
you meant by them
appropriate.
not having it, not that they've spent it already.
But I don't know if they have it
They might
designated for
already,
other things.
Well, like I said before, what comes out of that 125?
And I don't know what they, when we give it to them, I don't know what they.
I think that's what the council would kind of like to know.
I know, but like I said, there was a major change yesterday, and I just got the notice last night. A change, so and I need to find out exactly what that is. We
But I
have
feel like
someone
this-
getting those reports and where those monies are going, but I don't have them right now. It's a problem.
So there's no way to have it, any discussion tomorrow evening, you think? Talking,
Possibility,
provide for that?
possibility.
That somebody could come and explain to the council.
That money.
Okay.
They can do with it.
Because they both are.
I don't know what they
Let me,
use or if they
let me
can
make
do.
some
I don't
phone
know
calls
what
when
they
we're
do.
done today and see how soon I can get
And then we.
those reports.
And then somebody would come and present.
Yes,
What did you do, 125?
yes.
I mean, I can send out the information they have on the equipment and marginal, I would say, a whole lot.
Okay. Let me make a phone call, a couple phone calls as soon as we get done here today and see how soon I can get these reports. Because they're not coming from the 4-H council, they're actually coming from my bank. So I don't have control of that.
Thank you.
So no, I'll work on that as soon as we leave today.
Well, if we could get it here tomorrow evening.
Okay,
We've
5
got,
o'clock, okay.
we have agreements regarding county road and drains between Death Solar Park LLC and Du Bois County, Indiana. So these,
They were approved last time, we just did the changes. Greg did the changes.
Correct. There were changes that it was approved pending those changes being made regarding the notification to the appropriate entities such as Greater Jasper and the Madison Fire Department. And then also the notice going out to the landowners where the roads are impacted by mail or certified, U.S. first class mail or certified mail. They've asked for wet original signatures, which need to be mailed to Texas. So Sandy, we're gonna mail all these to Texas. Keep one back for us.
So mail 4, and you're
Because
gonna give me an address.
I'll email you that address, yes. And then they'll sign them and send back right to Dusty here and send that to.
So really, I don't need it, I'm just holding it.
That way we got one in case something gets lost in the mail. Overkill.
Okay.
the only thing I
Belt and
changed,
suspenders,
that I changed
Right.
was, I didn't want them just having engineering saying they're gonna give notice to people, because I didn't want them to sign it, saying,
Notice.
notice, here it is, or put it in a paper that the people may not read it this way, that way, mailing it to their house.
Well, I had a couple of questions, but I called Steve on these questions. Little things pertaining to the roads.
Anything from the county attorney?
No, I did meet with these same, yes. I met with these same folks on Friday virtually to discuss the permit application. The consensus from the board is what I'll seek here. The concern they have is because of the size of this project, having a full-scale detailed plan attached to that permit application would be extremely voluminous, large, which would take a long time to review. we had discussed, and I said I'd explore with you, that they would give me the mile-high view of everything where it's located at, with an assertion and guarantee that they're following all the ordinance and statutory requirements regarding setbacks. What they would provide in the permit would be the largest footprint that this project would be, with the understanding that it's probably going to be smaller than that.
Did they not give us the same document that they gave us last time, where it had the drawings?
Yes,
Something similar?
that's probably what they would be providing, yes, as opposed to, here's this 40-acre tract, here's where the setbacks are, here's where the panels are going to be. For every tract that they have under lease out there would be a lot of documents for them to get together, get to us.
We should probably have that
Yes,
at some point.
at some point when it's been ironed out.
I don't think we need it with the.
Correct, so that would be supplemented later, and it would be no greater than what was originally asked for, and here are those details going forward.
Because that seems like something we don't need until 5 years from now, they're hitting up Brent saying, or commissioner, or somebody saying, hey, they're past the setback. And then we have something to fall back on and look at them at.
Is that the last meeting date?
Yes, that's fine.
Anything else, Mr. Stair?
No.
Anything from the auditor, anything else?
No.
No commissioners?
Okay.
Public? Council members, anything? No? Let's go flip one more time, make sure we didn't miss anything, and I think that'd be about it. I don't believe I have any other business, we can close the meeting.